Before you make any decisions, take a moment to watch this. Too many men give up far too soon. They assume it's all over when things start to feel off, thinking that a rough patch is the end of the relationship. She's acting distant, maybe even cold, and you feel like the connection is slipping away. But what if I told you this moment is actually your chance to turn things around? Instead of walking away defeated, imagine finding a way to regain control without chasing her, begging for her attention, or losing your dignity. Many men don't see this opportunity because they react impulsively, letting their emotions get the best of them, and that's what destroys everything. Before you throw in the towel, take a moment to watch this video. I'm about to share powerful strategies that could put you in a stronger position than most men will ever experience. Let's jump in. 1. Why she's pulling away in the first place. It's easy to panic when a woman starts pulling back. Most guys immediately jump to conclusions. She's lost interest, met someone else, or simply doesn't care anymore. But there's often more going on beneath the surface than meets the eye. Women don't just randomly stop feeling something for you. It usually happens gradually and often for reasons you might not expect. So what's really going on? She's losing the spark because the chase is gone. In the beginning, there was mystery, excitement, and a sense of challenge, but over time, she starts to feel like she already knows where things stand with you, and it becomes predictable. Now she's testing your emotional control. She's wondering, how will you react when things shift? Will you freak out, panic, and chase after her, or will you remain steady, composed, and in control of your emotions? What she needs is space to feel that attraction again. The truth is, attraction isn't built on constant contact or reassurance. It's created by distance, tension, and the emotional highs and lows that come with it. When everything is too easily accessible, it loses its value. Here's where most men mess up. They don't give her the space she needs. Instead, they push harder, more texts, more calls, more effort, but that only makes things worse. Attraction fades when she doesn't have to work for your attention. When she doesn't have to chase, she won't feel the need to value it. 2. The silent test. You didn't even realize was happening. Here's something most guys completely overlook. When a woman starts pulling away, it's often a silent, subconscious test. She's not always consciously doing it, but her instincts are on high alert. She's asking herself, can he stay emotionally strong through this? Will he chase after me or hold his ground? Does he have options, or is he just pretending to be confident? And here's the harsh truth. Most men fail this test without even knowing it. She starts pulling back, maybe ignoring your messages, or taking longer to respond. What do most guys do? They text again, ask if everything's okay, or even try to reschedule plans right away. Every time they react this way, they're giving away control and proving to her that she's calling the shots. But the men who pass this test, who stand out, do something completely different. They don't freak out or react emotionally. They don't chase after her or beg for answers. They simply stay calm and hold their position. That's when something unexpected happens. She starts to feel regret. She starts wondering if she's made the wrong move, and that shift in her emotions is when the attraction begins to rebuild. The power of controlled distance. Here's something that most men fail to understand. Women don't fall in love with constant attention or presence. They fall in love with absence. The less you give away, the more valuable what you do give becomes. Think about it. When something is always right there, you start taking it for granted. But when it's gone, you start craving it. That's why pulling back at the right moment is one of the most powerful moves you can make. Instead of always being the one to text first, let her wonder, Don't like her posts or comment on everything she shares. Instead of rearranging your schedule just to fit hers, put yourself first. When you stop being so predictable and so available and stop reacting right away, the dynamic changes completely. She'll start to notice your absence, and that's when curiosity kicks in. She starts wondering, why isn't he responding? Did he lose interest? Is he seeing someone else? When you stop handing out your attention so freely, she starts missing you, and when that happens, the power shifts in your favor. What to do instead of chasing? When a woman pulls away. The instinct for most men is to rush in and fix things when a woman pulls away. They think, maybe if I just explain everything, show her how much I care, or convince her I'm serious, she'll come back. But here's the reality. Attraction doesn't work that way. The more you try to force things or over-explain yourself, the less she'll feel that spark. So instead of chasing her down, do this. Match her energy. If she's being distant or not responding, don't flood her with texts, calls, or emotional pleas. Instead, pull back and give her the space she needs. Stay calm, keep your emotional distance, and don't make her absence about you. If she reaches out, respond, but do so in a way that keeps the conversation light and unpressured. Don't give her more than she's giving you. Keep things balanced. This approach does two things. It signals that you're emotionally stable and not desperate for her attention, and it shows that you're not going to chase after her to fill any emotional gaps. When you stop chasing, you stop putting the relationship on a pedestal, and by doing this, you let her feel the absence of your energy, making her wonder what changed. That curiosity and emotional shift will bring her back to you, not because you begged or chased, but because you let her come to you. 5. When she comes back, how to handle it. When she pulls away and then suddenly comes back, whether it's after a few days or weeks, most men make a critical mistake. They welcome her back with open arms, eager to reconnect. She texts, "Hey," and they jump at the chance, acting like it's the best thing that's happened to them in days. This is where things can go wrong. Instead of rushing to respond, stay calm and composed. Don't act like her message is a lifeline you've been waiting for. If she disappeared for a while, she now has to show she's serious about coming back. You're not just going to fall back into old patterns and give her immediate attention. It's important to take back control of the pace of things. Let her feel the shift. Don't rush to fill the space she left. Make her work a little for your attention. If she genuinely wants to reconnect, she'll put in the effort to match your energy. By holding back, you show that you're not willing to let her take you for granted. When she sees that you're not desperate or needy, she'll respect you more and likely be more invested in the connection. By keeping things at a steady pace, you're showing her that your time and attention are valuable, and you won't simply drop everything whenever she decides to show up again. That subtle shift in power can lead to a much stronger, more balanced relationship. If she never comes back, read this. Here's a hard truth that you need to accept. Not every woman will come back, and that's perfectly okay. If she pulls away and never returns, consider it a blessing in disguise. She just saved you from wasting more time and energy on someone who wasn't the right fit for you. You don't want someone who sticks around only when you chase after them. You want a woman who chooses to stay because she genuinely values you, not because you're constantly running after her. Instead of waiting around for her to come back, redirect that energy into focusing on yourself. When you spend all your time chasing someone who's not interested, the only thing you're doing is pushing them further away. The moment you stop chasing, you'll realize something powerful. You were always ahead. You've been investing in yourself, growing and improving all along, and in the long run, that's what will attract the right person, someone who will appreciate you for who you are, not for how much you're willing to chase. The power of your silence. Here's something that most men never fully grasp. Silence is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. When a woman starts pulling away, most guys feel the need to argue, over-explain, or fight for her attention. They think they need to fill the silence with words to fix things. But the truth is, silence does more than words ever could. It creates mystery, uncertainty, and a subtle shift in emotional power. At first, she might not even notice the silence. She'll probably assume you'll be back, that you'll check in, send a text, or try to fix things. But as days turn into weeks, something starts to shift. She begins to realize that something is different. You're no longer the guy who's always there, always checking in, always ready to chase after her. Now you've disappeared from her world, and that emptiness she didn't expect begins to unsettle her. That's when the real shift happens. The absence of your presence forces her to reassess her feelings. She has to confront the reality that you're no longer there, and that void she's feeling is a reminder that she's lost something of value. Suddenly, she starts wondering what went wrong, and the attraction begins to rebuild itself. Not because of anything you've said or done, but because your silence has created a space for her to reconsider what she's lost. 8. Why women underestimate you until you go silent. Most women assume that men will always be there no matter what. They believe that no matter how much they pull away, you'll still be waiting in the wings, ready to chase them when they come back. And why wouldn't they think that? After all, most men do chase. Most men can't handle the distance or the silence. But when you don't follow the usual script, when you choose silence over the chase, it completely disrupts her expectations. She starts to wonder, wait, why isn't he reacting? Why hasn't he reached out to me? Is he actually moving on? These thoughts begin to stir something inside her, and that's when she starts asking herself a question she never expected to face. Did I misjudge him? That one question opens up a floodgate of emotions that she wasn't prepared for. Suddenly, she's reevaluating everything. She's wondering if she let something valuable slip away, and the shift in power becomes undeniable. The moment you stop chasing and start creating space, you force her to face the reality of the situation, and that can be a game changer. 9. The moment she starts to feel your absence. Here's the part most men never experience because they give up too soon. At first, she may feel fine, even relieved. She assumes that you'll be the one to reach out soon enough, that things will go back to normal. But then, silence. No texts, no calls, no attempts to connect from your side. As the days pass, she checks her phone more often, hoping to see a message from you, but nothing. And that's when it starts to hit her. She's the one feeling uncertain now. She's the one starting to question if she made a mistake, because now the roles have shifted. You're not chasing her anymore, and that change stirs something inside her. She's no longer in control, and that feeling of not knowing where you stand leaves her wondering if she missed something valuable. The absence of your attention, which she once took for granted, suddenly becomes a powerful force. She starts to realize that she's the one who's been left in the emotional lurch, and that changes everything. The unspoken rule of attraction. Here's a powerful truth that many men overlook. A woman values you based on how difficult you are to replace. When you were always around, always available, she never had to consider the possibility of losing you. You were just there, and that made your presence predictable. But now, with your absence, things start to shift, and that shift is unsettling for her. She begins to wonder if she took you for granted. She starts questioning if she misjudged your true worth. The best part? She doesn't even realize this is happening. It's all subconscious. The reality is, when something is always within reach, it loses its value. But when it's no longer there, it becomes a mystery. And mystery is one of the most powerful forces in attraction. The more unpredictable you become, the more she starts to feel that sense of loss, and with it, a renewed curiosity about you. When she can't just grab your attention whenever she wants, she begins to wonder why you're not as available as before, and that mystery will naturally draw her back in. 11. Why she suddenly starts watching you again. Once you go silent, something shifts in her. She starts doing what most women do when they're unsure. She begins to watch. She'll check your online activity, scroll through old messages, and maybe even start liking your posts again just to see how you'll react. But why does she do this? Because she's trying to figure something out. Did I actually lose him? And that thought is powerful. The moment she starts wondering if she might have lost a man who was once fully invested in her, it stirs emotions she wasn't expecting. It forces her to stop and reevaluate everything. She starts feeling the weight of your absence, and that shift begins to change her perspective. As she watches, she's no longer certain about her place in your world. When a woman starts questioning if she missed something valuable, it triggers a deeper emotional response that most men don't realize is happening. Your absence is making her think, and that thought alone pulls her back into your orbit. 12. The subtle signs she's testing the waters. Here's where most men get it wrong. When she throws out a test, they take the bait without even realizing it. It could be something simple. Maybe she sends a casual, "Hey," likes one of your posts, or texts you about something that seems trivial. But don't be fooled, it's not meaningless. It's her way of asking, are you still there? Do you still care? And here's the trap. If you respond too quickly, too eagerly, you're essentially confirming that she still has your attention whenever she wants it. Just like that, the dynamic resets. She knows that you're still easily accessible, and that takes the excitement and challenge out of the equation. The result? Her interest fades all over again, and you're back at square one. Instead of rushing to respond, hold your ground. Make her wonder if you're still emotionally invested, and let her prove that she's truly ready to engage. When you stop reacting on her terms, it shifts the balance and keeps the attraction alive. 13. How to handle the moment she reaches out. When she reaches out after a period of silence, most men see it as a win. They think, she came back. Now I can go back to acting like everything is fine. But here's the truth. This is the most critical moment in the entire process. How you respond now will set the tone for everything moving forward. You have two choices. The first is to fall right back into old patterns, responding immediately, acting overly eager, and letting her feel like she's still in control. The second is to stay composed, keep your emotions in check, and make her work a little for your attention. It's this second option that keeps her intrigued. When you don't rush to give her all the attention she's seeking, you stop being predictable. Instead, you become a challenge, and challenges are something women are naturally drawn to. The moment you stop giving her everything she expects, you spark curiosity and reawaken her interest. This is what keeps the attraction alive and builds the kind of dynamic that keeps her coming back for more. 14. The ultimate mindset shift. Here's a crucial lesson you need to grasp. You don't win a woman over by chasing her. The real victory comes from becoming the kind of man who never has to chase. You win by having standards, valuing your time, and making her prove that she deserves your energy. That's when the dynamic flips, because now you're in control, not through manipulation or playing games, but through self-respect. And that is the key difference between the men who get played and the men who women can't forget. When your silence becomes unbearable for her, something changes. At first, she might have brushed it off, thinking you'd eventually come back. She assumed you'd cave, send a text, or try to reconnect. But now, your absence is starting to mess with her emotions. It's not just a minor inconvenience anymore, she's actually feeling it. She finds herself checking her phone, hoping to see your name pop up. She scrolls through old messages, searching for signs that she missed something or overlooked the fact that you were slipping away. As time goes on, the uncertainty builds. She starts questioning herself. Did I push him too far? Was I wrong about him? Is he really gone for good? And in that moment, the power balance shifts. She's no longer in control, and her mind is consumed with thoughts of you. This is when everything changes, because now you've become someone she can't take for granted. 15. The secret most men never understand. This isn't just about her missing you, it's about power. She's beginning to realize that she doesn't have the control she thought she did, and that realization drives her crazy. When she starts looking for you in other men, it taps into one of the most intriguing aspects of human psychology. When something is out of reach, people often start searching for it elsewhere. So when she sees you're not reaching out, she instinctively tries to fill that void. She might start texting old flings, seeking attention from new guys, or posting things online hoping you'll react. But here's the truth. None of it feels the same. Deep down, she knows it. The second she starts trying to replace you, she begins to compare, and that's where she loses. No matter who she talks to, you're still at the back of her mind. You've become a mystery, a question mark she can't quite figure out, and that keeps her hooked. The more she tries to move on or distract herself, the more she realizes she's only digging herself deeper into a place she doesn't want to be. The more she looks elsewhere, the more she sees that nothing compares. And that's when the emotional pull becomes undeniable. You've created a void that no one else can fill, and it only brings her closer to re-evaluating everything. 16. Why her ego won't let her admit she misses you. Women have two sides when it comes to missing someone. There's the emotional side, the loss, the regret, the longing, but then there's the ego, and that ego hates to lose. It won't let her admit that she's wrong or vulnerable, and it won't allow her to be the first to fully own up to her feelings. So instead of reaching out with pure honesty, she plays games. She might send a casual, "Hey, hope you're doing well," while secretly hoping you'll bite and restart the conversation. Or she might flood social media with posts about how happy and fulfilled she is, just to see if you'll react. But deep down, she's still watching, hoping you'll give her a sign that she still has your attention. The moment you don't react the way she expects, that's when the internal battle truly begins. Now she's wondering, are you really over her? Or have you just mastered something most men fail to? Detachment. And detachment, that's what messes with her ego. The second she realizes you've stopped chasing, that's when everything flips. She finally sees that you weren't just another guy in the picture. You weren't someone she could string along. You weren't someone who would wait around forever. But here's the painful part. She realizes it too late. By now, you've evolved, you've grown, you've become the man who no longer needs her validation. And in that moment, she understands what you knew all along, that the true value wasn't in her approval. It was in your ability to walk away, because now she's no longer in control. You are. And she's left wondering if she'll ever get another shot with you. What to do when she comes back? This is where most men miss the mark. When she finally reaches out, they fall right back into the trap. They respond too quickly, act too eager, and give her exactly what she wanted in the first place: validation. And once she gets that validation, she disappears again. So here's what you need to do differently. Stay grounded. Act like a man who isn't fazed by her return. Don't drop everything just because she texts you. Don't make her the center of your world just because she shows interest again. Don't fall back into the same old patterns that made her take you for granted in the first place. Instead, let her work for it. If she truly values you, she'll prove it, not with words, but through actions. If she doesn't, then guess what? You just won the game because you finally realized that you never needed her in the first place. If she let you down, don't beg, don't chase. Level up, focus on yourself, keep moving forward, and let your silence do all the talking. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the next one on the screen. It's exactly what you need to hear next.